Let's say you have a Sprinter van and you're trying to get a business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. Because for whatever reason, you need to up your game, right? You need to make more money. You need to really have access to better loans and whatnot. So in today's conversation, I'll explain everything to you. I'll explain to you how to get a Sprinter van, business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. So here are the steps I really want you to follow. So the first thing you need to do is before anything, you need to decide how much funding you need. Okay. Do you need 25 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand? Do you want to replace the whole Sprinter van, or you just need to have access to cash that you can actually use on a sporadic basis, on a periodic basis? Okay, because normally when you have a business line of credit, this is not money that you are about to use right away. You have to just have it. It's just sitting there. When you need it, you tap into it, and so this is what it is. So it's really important to understand that when we talk about a business line of credit for a Sprinter van business, you can have a line amount that go from $2,000 all the way to $250,000. So it depends on the size of your business. It depends on how many Sprinter vans you have. Do you have a fleet, or you are just by yourself? You are an owner operator. It depends also on the industry you're in. It depends on your revenue also. So it depends on a constellation of things. Okay, but very important, you need to decide how much funding you need. Okay, and this is you can't just say I need 50 grand. No. This cannot be a random number. You have to sit down and you have to really, put down what you're going to use the money for. Okay, this is really important. And it's also important to understand that when we talk about a Sprinter van, business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee, you can have it as an unsecured business line of credit or a secure business line of credit. It really is, it's important to understand the distinction here, because everything, if you have a secure business line of credit, you are indeed collateralizing the whole credit product. Okay. By the way, welcome back to the show. Really appreciate having you here. And it's always wonderful to have this sort of conversations every now and then. So it's important to understand that if you think about how much funding you need, you also need to ask yourself, do I really want a business loan from my Sprinter van or a business line of credit better? Okay, this is important. And in some cases, a business line of credit is better for your Sprinter van business because it offers more flexibility than a business loan. So the first thing you have to do here is to decide how much funding your Sprinter van needs, your Sprinter van business. The second thing I want you to do here is to check your eligibility. So basically, you are sitting there, you have a Sprinter van business, okay, but maybe the kind of a business line of credit you want with EIN only and no personal guarantee, the lender has a specific set of criteria that you don't qualify for. But before I give you those criteria, please, I want to actually re-explain to you today's topic. So we are talking about how to get a Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee, with a massive amount. Okay, so this is the topic around which our discussion will actually center today. And it's important to understand that when we talk about this kind of a Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, you have three things, what we call the magical trifecta, that really plays an important role. So you have your credit history. So when it comes to credit history, it can be business credit or it can be personal credit. So if you apply for this business line of credit with EIN only, that means your credit history will have to be your business credit history. So the lender, instead of looking at your FICO score, will start paying attention to your paydex score, your Experian IntelliScore Plus, or your Equifax business credit score. Usually, for your Experian IntelliScore Plus or your paydex score, it's usually from 1 to 100. So which means that 100 is the best. Okay. So if you are around 80, you are good to go. Okay. But if you were to apply for this Sprinter van business line of credit without EIN, then it will be your FICO score. Either way, the lender is not going to be too strict about your business credit score or your personal credit score, because when you get a business line of credit, they always have other ways to check whether or not you're using the funds properly. So the first part of the trifecta is really your credit history. Business credit history or personal credit history. The second part is your business revenue, okay? Your Sprinter van business revenue. And the third thing is your time in business as a Sprinter van owner operator or the Sprinter van fleet owner, okay? So when we talk about Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee in general, there are a few things that the lender also pays attention to. They pay attention to your industry experience, how long you have been hauling. They pay attention to the vehicle information, how old or new the vehicle is, the Sprinter van. They pay attention to your income, how much you have been generating in terms of income, not revenue, but net income. The third thing that you really want to pay attention to if you want to get a Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only, no personal guarantee, is to actually start paying attention to those lenders and those lenders who cater to your specific industry. It's really important to understand that when we talk about Sprinter van business line of credit, people believe you have to actually talk to alternative lenders or online lenders to get the best deal. Not necessarily, because a lot of folks like to actually denigrate banks and credit unions and believing that they are bad. They're not bad. You just haven't learned how to talk to them, because banks and credit unions are different kinds of animals, so to speak. Okay, they are risk averse, meaning that they don't want to take risk. So you have to prove to them that with your Sprinter van, the risk to lend to you, the risk to actually provide you with a business line of credit, that risk is very low. In other words, because see, the thing is, banks and credit unions, for that matter, they are there to cover their asses. They're scared too. Okay, they are scared as shh. They are scared as shh. So the whole thing is that you have to talk to them. So you have to research and compare lenders. So what I want you to do here is that you want to start first with the state where you are currently at, the state and city where you're currently at, and you want to see which kind of banks are in the area. Which kind of and are those banks big national banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citi, or you have regional banks such as U.S. Bank, PNC, Truist, BMO Harris, or Fifth Third, or you just have a state bank. So when you have those state bank, you are getting more and more like geo restricted. But if that works for you, that's what it is. Money is money. It doesn't matter whether the money is coming from a big national bank or a regional bank. Okay, so you want to see which lender is more amenable for you. But the thing is, you have to actually do the research yourself. But if you want our help, just drop us a comment below. Just tell us the location where you're currently at. We'll tell you which bank is in your area. You also have to think about online lenders. Okay, for example, if you take a Top Mark Funding, you have Balboa Capital. Okay, you have a series of so you have Balboa, you have Kalamata Group. So you have some players that are there to actually finance your Sprinter van business line of credit. So you have to do your research here. The next thing I want you to do right now, boss, is you need to gather the required documentation. Okay. By the way, I want to remind you again of the topic of today's conversation so we can contextualize the conversation clearly. Okay. I'm explaining to you how to get a Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only, no personal guarantee. So first, you have to determine how much funding you need. Second thing, you need to check your eligibility. Third thing is you need to research and compare lenders. And the fourth thing you need to do here is you need to gather required documentation. So what is the required documentation? First of all, you got to have a business. If you want to have a business line of credit, you got to have a business. I'm talking about a legit business. Okay, so is your Sprinter van owner operator, is it a business or you just a sole proprietorship? Because see, the thing is, we always tell our viewers that even if you are a one-person show, you can still have a single member LLC. See, don't be a lazy ass trying to being scared about becoming a company. If you have a company, you have the ability to write off more things. You have the ability to get financing, to grow your business, to scale. Okay, so it's important to make that jump if you haven't made it already. Okay, it's important. So you need to have a legit business. And the lender will want to see personal and business tax returns. So your Sprinter van, if it's an LLC, for example, then the lender will want to have like a Form 1065. If you are a multi-member LLC for your Sprinter van, if you are a single owner operator, if you're a single member LLC, then you don't need anything else. You just need your 1040 and your Schedule C. Okay. And in terms of, hey, listen, if anything I'm saying, if these things sounds like a foreign language for you, just drop us a question below. We'll be very happy to explain everything to you further. The lender will want to see your Sprinter van business licenses. So depending on the states you're in, depending on the kind of loads you haul, depending on the kind of niche you position yourself in, you might need some business licenses, including your driver's license. You don't need a CDL. You don't need a CDL to actually thrive in this industry, but you got to have, depending on the kind of niche you're in, you got to really have the proper licenses. Let me give you an example. let's say you are a Sprinter van, but you do haul medical deliveries. In other words, you are a medical courier service. That means you're going to have to be compliant with OSHA, with HIPAA, with other regulatory bodies. So you need to have business licenses that might come with this regulatory compliance requirements. Okay. The lender might want you to provide your Sprinter van business articles of incorporation. So depending on whether you're a C corporation or an S corporation, or you're an LC or LP or LP or whatever those letters are, whatever the acronyms you choose, you're going to have articles of organization or articles of incorporation. See, the bottom line here is that you need to prove to the lender that you are basically a legit business. Okay, this is really important for you to actually prove that, and you have to be in a situation where you prove that consistently over and over and over. So this is the bottom line here. Okay, you also need to provide financial statements, a business plan, business lease in some cases, profit and loss statements. Okay, those are important elements, personal and business bank statements and whatnot. So very important. So once you have all this thing, boss, what you want to do here, you need to submit your application. So remember that you have actually researched and compared lenders that can give you a Sprinter, like some kind of a business line of credit. So you need to actually go to a branch. In our view, it's just a lot better for you to get your Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only, no personal guarantee. They need to see you. You need to go to a branch and sit with someone and explain your business, to explain what kind of loads you are hauling. You also need to explain your monetization model. See, when you have a Sprinter van business, you have 4 ways to monetize your business. You can actually charge, you have something that we call RPM, so rates per mile. You can have RPC, so rates per contract. You can have RPL, rates per load, or you can have RPH, rates per hour. So this is actually the four ways you can charge your clients. This is a whole way you can derive revenue. So the lender will be interested in understanding that. The lender will want to know, okay, this courier service, this Sprinter van courier service wants to get a business line of credit EIN only. Are we even sure that he or she is generating enough revenue? So revenue generation should be the number one element that you need to put forward. Okay, you need to also talk about the line of credit purpose. Why do you need a line of credit right now? You need to put your annual revenue. You need to put the desired line of credit amount that you need. Okay, and so those things you have to actually be very clear about that, because otherwise the lender has no idea who you are, has no idea how you're going to repay the bank. See, the thing is, when we talk about a Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only, no personal guarantee, you need to understand lenders are really happy to give you the cash you need. But the question is, are you going to be in a situation where you can repay whatever you tap into? Like if you tap into the business line of credit, would you be able to repay the bank or the credit union or even the online lender real quick? I mean, online lenders can also provide you with a Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only. For example, we have a lender such as Bluevine or On Deck or even American Express. They can actually give you also a Sprinter van business line of credit EIN only. Totally possible, as long as you're able to apply properly. The next thing I want to say here is that when we talk about Sprinter van business line of credit, there are a few mistakes. There are like a few mistakes, a few sort of boo-boos you need to be aware of as you try to fill out an application for your Sprinter van business line of credit. One thing I want to say here is that please pay attention to things like your business information. Okay, the Sprinter van itself, the condition of the car, because a lot of line of credit application for your Sprinter van will want to make sure that your vehicle is in tip-top condition. Remember, your vehicle is the quintessential tool that will actually, because without a vehicle, you don't have a business. Okay. So it's important that you document the conditions of the vehicle. Very important. And one thing I also want to say here is that you have to talk about, you have to pay attention to a few business line of credit costs and fees when you are trying to get a Sprinter van business line of credit with EIN only, no personal guarantee. So I want you to pay attention to things like interest rates, the draw fee, the payment processing fee, the late fee. You also have termination fee, prepayment penalties. So termination fees are really important because if you were to abruptly cancel your Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee, what will happen here is that the lender will find himself or herself in a situation where they're losing money, right? So they will have to charge you a termination fee. Now, normally those things should be buried in the fine prints that you will be signing once your business line of credit is approved. Okay. And as also you have a payment processing fee. So anytime you tap into your Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee, what will happen here is that the lender might want to charge you, let's say $15 or $35, depending on the kind of amount that you draw. Because when we talk about the Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, you have actually two phases. You have the draw phases, the draw phase, and then you have the repayment phase. In some cases, you have the third phase, which is the draw and repayment phase. In other words, you have a pay as you go. So you draw a little bit, you pay a little bit. You draw a little bit, you pay a little bit. So you have all kinds of combos that are available depending on the industry you're in or depending on the lender that you're talking to. But overall, you need to be very careful about those nuances if you were to ever be approved for a Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. Last but not the least, I just want to talk to you about the fact that there are some lenders out there that will take care of you, and I just mentioned one or two before. So here are our top three business lines of credit lenders for Sprinter van owner operators, EIN only, no personal guarantee. So number one, you have First Capital Business Finance. Okay, just fantastic. They actually finance everything. Okay, they will actually give you the cash you need. And the good thing is that they are there to kind of help you out all over, like just trying to help you, give you the amount you need, and it can be like all the way to $100,000. This is really good. And actually, it's not the top three; it's the top two. Okay, so we have First Capital Business Finance. What we love about First Capital is that they will give you up to $100,000 when it comes to your business line of credit. And they don't ask a lot of questions. They don't, like, obviously they want to see the vehicle. They want to see your financials. In some cases, they will ask you for your business bank statements. Okay. They may not ask you to provide proof of income, but it is what it is. So they just want to see your bank statements. Sometimes they will ask you to connect your system, your accounting software, to their system, or to connect your bank statements to their system so they can monitor your cash inflows and outflows in real time. Okay, so but it happens. But so First Capital Business Finance is a top lender for a Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. Another player that we love a lot that we have actually covered on other shows is Topmark. And Topmark has been doing this for a long time now. So the full name is Topmark Funding LLC, and they do a lot of things around Sprinter van. Okay, and they can help you. They can approve you for new purchases. You can get a business line of credit. You can get a business loan. You can get all kinds of financing through Topmark, and the maximum you can get is $250,000. So $250,000. Isn't that beautiful? That's just fantastic. So the cool thing is that there is no impact on your credit, and we love the fact that Topmark is constantly changing their games over and over and over. They'll ask you for a few information, like few pieces of information. They'll ask you for things like your bank statements. They'll also ask you for your financials. And listen, it can be projected financials. Topmark is fine with that, okay? But what they want to make sure is that you have experience in the field and you are able to repay whatever you tap, whatever amount you tap into the business line of credit. So overall, fantastic. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to get a Sprinter van business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. So here are the steps I really want you to choose. Decide how much funding you need. Okay. You want to check your eligibility. Number 3, you want to really research and compare lenders. Number 4, you want to gather required documentation. You want to submit your application. And it's really important to think about the common business line of credit approach and also some of the top lenders that we have for you. You have First Capital Business Finance, and you also have you have a Topmark. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.